Hello, all you mechaholics, and welcome to another episode of the Gundam Roundtable. Of course, I'm your host, Ironcaster, and I am so glad to be here today. It's Tuesday. It's time to talk some more Gundam. How we doing, folks? I mean, off the bat already, I'm doing good. Cold weather started to set in. Yes, Matilda. No, sadly, we lost her last week, but this is war, and that's kind of one of those unfortunate things about it. But don't worry too much. I mean, they at least got a little revenge and took out Ortega, I believe it was. But just even to remember. How's it going, Editorial? Unfortunately, I don't have to sit here and kind of awkwardly try to talk to myself. I mean, that's something I need to work on, but that's neither here nor there. Because, hey, Fenrir's here.
So Matilda finally hit the boot. Man, poor Amuro. He never even got a chance to hit that.
No, but I think the TriStars did hit that.
Yeah, they did. This is why you need drums.
I should probably get the soundboard up and running, but I didn't think I was going to need that.
Damn it would have been better. But yeah, still, poor kid. And the way he's treating Frau, he's going after it, but he already has it there, but he's ignoring it. Damn it, that kid doesn't know what he's got.
Yeah, well, you gotta remember, Amro's a boy. He's still kind of, he doesn't realize that there's something so obviously in front of him. Frau is this girl next door who cares for him, and he's still thinking about older women. And let me pull it back up. Nerd Royal says, good, just watch Search for Spock, hence the bastard line from me. Yeah, good movie, great movie. They killed my son. Amro should be 16, and I believe Chris would probably know best. Chris, how old is Amro?
He is 15. He should be about 16 another week or so. But it's also MASH that they killed, not Ortega. Guy and Ortega are left over.
I took my shot and I missed.
If you were Amuro, if you were in the Gundam right now being hunted down by the Black TriStars, you'd be dead in the first wave of the jet stream attack.
Hey, I've got the Gundam to rely on. The Gundam's going to get me through this.
Hey, remember what Rumbarall said. It's not the mobile suit's abilities, it's your own. That's important.
Yep.
And you also know when to rely on.
It's not the size of the boat, it's the motion of the ocean. That's pretty much what he's trying to say.
But sometimes you need to know when to rely on it, when to rely on yourself. I mean, am I entirely wrong in that?
No.
So how have you guys been doing this week? You see anything good lately?
Not really. I've slowly began to lose my hope in humanity as I saw the new Masters of the Universe episode because of Polly.
Oh, it was, from what I understand, it was pretty bad, wasn't it?
Yes, it is. The images that I've seen show it was awful. Pretty much everything we knew was going to happen happened.
I listened to the BBC as they talked to the real BBC with Nerd, Roddick, and Az and Mahler all talk about it while I was working. So it sounded like an atrocious mess.
See, I was listening to our good buddy T-shirt historian today.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm glad to see I'm glad to see T-shirt was back doing the Tuesday talks.
But besides that, it's been work, and more work.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Let me pull. Rewatching The Expanse. Final season starts in a few weeks. Season 5 was a mess. Concerned about the final season. I didn't ever get a chance to get into The Expanse. Like, I think I watched a few episodes and I sort of dropped off.
People say it's good, but I just don't feel like anything. I'm just going back to pulp.
Oh, like
I've heard I heard from Gary that like he used to like the show at first, but then it just kind of teetered off and fell off the map after these last couple seasons.
Let's see. Expect a layman's guide from me in a few weeks. Expanse has some similarities to Gundam, but without the mobile suits. I'm looking forward to that video there, Nerdtorial. So. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I heard about that. I heard the Me Too happened. It's ravaging Hollywood.
So stupid. I don't know. It's like, and there are now competing resources that are slowly starting to grow against them.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, who's doing that?
Probably Chris.
Playing
with rappers.
Okay, what are you eating? Are you eating a candy bar? Or...
Yeah, candy bar.
Just want to know. Okay, go on.
I was sorry. I was fortunate enough to go see Ghostbusters this weekend, and that was great.
Yeah, it's just I haven't felt love for a movie and entertained in a long time. It was good for the soul.
Yeah, it definitely filled some sort of wholesome need that I've been wanting for a while now.
We've all been wanting that. We've all been.
Oh, that's good. I hopefully we'll see it here soon in the next week or so.
I mean, part of me was always kind of worried going in about all the culture war that's been raging on that makes you just almost not want to bother seeing anything like Masters of the Universe. But
yep.
But it was so worth the seat. Now, let's see. Ghostbusters was like watching a schmaltzy Spielberg movie. Not a Ghostbusters movie, but respectful and had a great send-off for Harold Ramis and Egon Spengler. Yeah, you could really tell that Egon was all over this film. He was the heart and soul of this film, and his absence was certainly echoing throughout it.
I definitely heard that this was definitely a film that kind of felt like an epilogue for those that have seen it.
Nothing like the 80s. Yep. Now there are only 3 Ghostbusters movies.
Yes. I mean, of course there are. Has there ever been another one? I mean, there's only been 3. Always.
And then the video game.
Yes. The one where you play as the rookie. Yeah, there's only been that. Nothing else. Nothing involving a bunch of dumbasses trying to play Ghostbusters and being morons. Nothing else.
Hopefully this will kind of make people take a closer look at movies.
Yeah. Like what's good and what's bad.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to see like this will be sort of that return to actual appreciation for fans. But that's neither here nor there. Guys, are we ready to get into a little bit of Gundam talk?
Yeah, we've been at this for about 10 minutes. Yeah, let's talk about freaking robots.
Let's get things started. Gundam fight all set. Ready? Go!
Now that feels right.
There, I see. I told you it works.
And he was bitching and complaining right before we jumped into this.
Chris.
Don't try and hide it. Don't try and hide it. Just take the loss. Just take the loss.
Yeah.
So, We are on episode 25. Well, it's actually episode 24, but episode 24 for the American dub, but episode 25 of Mobile Suit Gundam, entitled The Battle of Odessa. So, I mean, from the outset, this is an episode. This battle is something that we've been seeing hinted at for quite some time. This has had all that build up we've had for the last 10, 15 episodes. There's been talk and whispers about a big upcoming battle.
I mean, we were hearing about this all the way up till like a couple episodes after Garma's death. So I mean, it was.
I think we may have even been hearing about it before.
Possibly, I don't recall exactly. I think it was mostly right after the White Base crew had their first encounter with Rumbaral. That was around the time that we actually started hearing about something going on in the Eurasian region.
So, Fenrir, what did you? I mean, there's been all this buildup so far, and I mean, what were your thoughts going into the episode? With you knew that we have a battle coming. There's some kind of buildup.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that, specifically the part where I, well, oh crap, how do I even begin? There's just so much to talk about. Okay, I enjoy the build up, the way the characters have been developed, so on from what is going. The memories that we've seen through now and then, it was all greatly done. I admit it. This was well written. And I enjoyed the story that was well written within it. Granted, I wanted Amuro to be lucky, at least getting some feel there, but we can't always be winners. And I also enjoy this part about the traitor being revealed in part of this, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Right. Well, so I mean, going into this, did you have much expectations for what this big battle was supposed to be? I mean, because
I'm waiting for this. I'm kind of waiting for Shard to kind of show up and slice something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not to get too into spoilers, but that may or may not be next week's episode.
I mean, there is an entire movie called Shard's Counterattack.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, no. This has been something that's kind of hinted at and teased, and I've kind of remind you every now and then that there's the Federation has something that they're trying to plan, and we're gonna finally get to find out after all this buildup for the last 3 months that we've been doing this show that there's something big battle planned, and we finally got to it.
The stalemate has broken.
But enough with our own build-up. Let's actually get into it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody's getting tired.
So down in the hangar, Amuro and Sayla were getting the G armor and the Gundam ready to go head out for some reconnaissance and to give Sayla practice in the G armor. Amuro's been too preoccupied worrying about thinking about the loss of Matilda. His head's just not in the game. He's not there. He's not there. And that's not really something we can't afford to have at this time in a battle. But it's one of those kind of unfortunate factors with war. You have fellow soldiers who've died, and unfortunately, just due to the nature of the beast of war, Amuro here, who's taken especially hard, just does not have the time to be able to cope and process this. And much like with the death of Ryu previously.
Definitely the White Base crew has experienced a lot of loss. And definitely Amuro has been through a lot himself. He is a 15 going on 16-year-old boy who has been fighting for his life ever since leaving Side 7, and definitely having a woman that he admired to die in front of him, saving his life, that'll weigh on a young boy's consciousness.
Ryu died in, I believe it was episode 19?
3 episodes before this.
Yeah, because it was
I
like,
really didn't see that coming.
it was like right after the death of Ron Burrell.
Yeah, right after, exactly. Around his lover's revenge.
Mm-hmm. And so, oh yeah, you know, it's, you gotta kind of wondered, it has Amuro not smacked him around enough? Ryu sacrificed himself.
Ryu got it while injured, got into the core fighter of the gun tank, which was out of commission, and flew into a Magella top, which was controlled by Crowley Hallman. And she was about ready to shoot Amuro, who was in the Gundam at point blank range, which would have set off a series of explosions in a large cargo container that they had on a hovercraft that would have destroyed the white base.
Right. And that was that. It was one of those first really major deaths that I think has shaken Amuro. I mean, more so than watching half a colony all being wiped out like they were way back in episode 1. Because Amuro back then was just someone who he mostly stayed alone by himself, and the closest he had been to those deaths before was Frau Bo's grandfather and mother dying, whereas this is someone who he's had feelings now for.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, it's just kind of one of those things, like war, death is inevitable. And it hasn't, while in the past, we've had a lot of kind of attachment and really focusing on that the death is a theme where it's gone and really affected them. But now we're kind of at a point where look, Amuro's not running off and being a little bitch.
He's definitely been forced to mature, which I sort of see this as the coming into his own arc. The previous arc where he is fighting against Rumbarall and all that was him going through the trials and tribulations of the hero phase, where he's going to fight what he's supposed to be. He's going to rebel. He's going to he's going to try and resist, but in the end, he is going to accept and acknowledge who he is, and he is going to start taking it seriously. And now we are in the phase where Amuro is going to take his job seriously. He's no longer going to fight. He's going to accept his orders from Bright.
Well, I'd say now he's at a point where he's going to decide he is going to fight. So just to correct it slightly.
Well, I mean, he's not
going to get smacked.
He's not going to fight Bright anymore. He's going to he's acknowledged Bright as a surrogate father or older brother and his commander.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
plus it's a fight he can't win.
Yeah,
or he'll just get smacked.
He knows what happens.
I don't need a kid to tell me how I should do my job. You're a selfish brat.
Yeah. I hit the wrong one by mistake, but yes. Nerdpoil. I remember that moment. I never saw something so dark in an animated show. Frau Bo reacting to her mother and grandfather killed in episode 1. I was genuinely upset. Yeah. Oh gosh, it is. Especially kind of if you go back and rewatch it still hits. You're seeing someone who you do know getting really so deeply affected. Hey there, how's the Dolphin books going? So, oh wow, I got this. Okay, I guess I dropped a couple of
lines.
Yeah. So Amuro and Sayla ultimately do go launch in the G armor to go do the to go and
patrol.
Do their through the patrol, and it gives Sayla a chance to go and get her practice in. Which, to her credit, it looks like she is genuinely improving. I mean, she's now no longer passing out. She's now no longer just throwing up.
She is still kind of wincing, but I mean, who doesn't when you're being thrown back into your pilot seat at high velocity?
They lost Matilda last episode, and I felt that too. Tomino did such a good job showcasing his character's emotional states. There's a lot of genuine emotion that he's putting on display. And no, go ahead.
And I mean, a lot of it actually kind of reflects off of Tomino's own emotional state, because there are times where in succeeding series, when he is himself in a dark mood and a depressed mood, he writes his shows darker. For example, Zeta Gundam ends very dark.
Yeah, Zeta gets famously dark, to the point that Tomino gets the nickname "Kill 'em all, Tomino."
Kill 'em all, Tomino. Wow.
A series called Victory Gundam, which takes place almost 100 years into the future of the Universal Century. Victory Gundam gets very dark too. He kills almost off the whole cast.
Wow.
Right,
Gundam sure gets dark.
Well, actually, for Zeta, what I've always kind of understood was that I think his mother had died, and so it was affecting him there.
Yeah.
He was going, it was either his mother died or depression. I can never quite remember which one it was.
I always heard it was depression that kind of drove him to do this stuff with his shows. Get into the darker tone, get into the darker nature.
Let's see. So meanwhile, let's see. So here we have Amuro. He's still got the photo. And he's still seriously pining. I think we've kind of hit on this quite enough for to kind of move forward. Oh yeah. So we humorously discovered that one of the Xeon operations is called fried chicken.
Oh, that was.
Come on! At some point, they've ran out of creative names. You take what I mean.
I mean, seriously, they do kind of use code phrases to get things moving along. I mean, I'm trying to think of for real life operations, we had Operation Overlord, which was the code name for D-Day. There was Operation Unconceivable, which was a possible invasion by the Allies against the Soviet Union right after World War II ended. Actually, it was going to be like the very next day after World War II ended. And so on and so forth. So they do have different code names for things.
Yeah, don't forget, there was also Operation Tiger, All American. Yeah, look, there was a lot of those.
Well, I mean,
it's very standard.
You use code phrases to cover up what you're doing.
Yeah, it was like what Operation
Paperclip. Back. Seriously, there's a whole in Pig Bristle by the Australians. Remember, the Australian military did one thing called Pig Bristle once, somewhere around the 50s.
Really?
Yeah, there was a lot of weird names.
I mean, famously, the atomic bomb is also the Manhattan Project. So it is so very standard.
So that's where he got his name.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Yep. Nerd Proil's right. Operation Desert Storm.
Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Well, Desert Storm is kind of cool sound.
Hello, Mr. Grant Gregory. Welcome. We're talking about some big robots.
Yes.
We just started. We were kind of keep on getting a little distracted with code names.
Yep. For some reason we just can't keep this going. Jesus, why isn't Jace here? Probably make us all keep going.
So, kind of one of the other things that's kind of happened is now Frau is with Sayla now having to fill in that role of the pilot, they now need someone on communications, and well, Frau Bo becomes the one to do that. Which good for her, because this is actually giving some combat use that doesn't revolve around keep
Actually
the
fighting.
orphans entertained.
And also, she doesn't actually fight. She just is. She doesn't seem like she's much of a aggressive fighter compared to Sayla. So, I mean, putting her as communications officer where Sayla is going to be the pilot actually seems like a smart move.
Yep, she's building them skills. God, let's throw her in communications for a while. Give her a couple ranks in that. That works. Anyway. Nerdproil, kind of funny thing. Yes, that's exactly what she did.
Well, if you do go off of the Gundam Origin OVA, which that's partially canon, loosely canon, I should say, she would cook meals and take them over to Amuro's house, kind of babysitting him a little bit in a sense. And besides that, she did what normal teenage girls did, go to school and stuff like that. So,
meanwhile, at the Xeon headquarter base, we get to go see that our two remaining Black Tri-Stars are mourning the loss of their friend Mash, giving the
25 gun salute.
Is it 25?
Yeah,
well,
I think
this time it was just a 2 bazookas.
Yeah, I gotta say, I respected this scene. It was really good to see that these soldiers have a respect and admiration for one another, to the point where they would actually celebrate them instead of just moving on.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, this was their brother, They're
brothers
brother
in
in
arms.
arms.
I mean, from the stuff that I researched for the upcoming stream that Jace, Ironcaster, and I will be doing about the background of the Universal Century timeline, they have been together for about good 5 or so years, or well, less than 5 or so years, 3 or so years, training together, preparing for the war against the Federation.
I mean, that's at that point. That is your brother. This is a guy who has fought beside you, has killed to save your life. That forms a bond.
Mm-hmm.
Though, while these two are mourning the death of Mash, and are in their moment, Makuve, however, is nonetheless pleased, because he sees it as a
waste
of time and resources.
Wow, when he's angry, he looks less creepy.
He does.
Weird.
Which, again, it's such a great expressive face to the guy. It's very skeletal, thin. It kind of reminds me of Tarkin.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, kind of.
If Tarkin had hair.
You mean if Tarkin had more hair? Purple hair?
Right. If Tarkin was anime. He's Space Tarkin. I know. Wait. I got this. I deserve that. Chris, you want to address this real quick? I mean, so you talk about the difference between them. Like, I mean, how big is it for certain things? I mean, because there is the odd unit change that you've brought up with what the G armor would have.
Well, I mean, one one of the big changes between the movie and the show is, yes, there is no G fighter / G armor in the show, or in the movie. It's the core booster, which is basically the core fighter with basically a larger jet engine strapped onto its back.
But I mean, is there really more? Beyond. It sounds like the only real difference is just like basically a toy design.
In a sense, yes, but I mean, also, how many times can we watch the Gundam jump in and out of the armor? I can understand why they did the change, because it kind of gets to have that transformation scene in almost every single battle. It kind of gets a little tedious, especially when you're trying to fit something into a 2 hour movie, 2 hour anime movie.
Okay, yep. Actually, Nerdpoil does bring up one more good point.
Yes, he does. Mukuve, that was something that I was gonna say for later on when we get to that point. But Mukuve does survive in the movies, and also it becomes important for the lore in the succeeding lore after all this these events takes place, because Mukuve, in fact, actually with Shard takes a character named Maneva Zabi, who is Dozel's infant daughter, to Axis, where she is to be raised. And basically Mukuve sort of commands things for a short time until he kind of disappears. I don't know exactly what happens to him.
When did those movies come out? Were they before Zeta?
Yes, because I do believe the movies came. I think the movie trilogy came out the year after, 2 years after, so in 81. The show concluded in let me see here.
Okay. 81, and then Zeta came out in 82.
Yes.
Okay.
So the show, Mobile Suit Gundam, the TV show, ended in January of 1980, and the movie trilogy, which is basically the technical canon, came out in March of 81, so a year later.
And then Nerdpoil's saying that 85 was Zeta. So
yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. I wasn't quite sure. Honestly, I've not really gone through the movies, so that's one. I'm gonna go watch through those when I get to the end. When we get to the end of this, and
I mean, it's basically all the movies do is they kind of just rearrange some of the scenes, condense things down so it's a little more narratively clean, and also switches out the G fighter for the core fighter, or for the core booster, and also gets rid of the gun tank halfway through the show.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I love the gun tank. But
they basically they drop the gun tank, and they get the white base gets a second gun cannon.
Well, shall we? Let's go on a little bit further then. Mukuve snaps at them. They're wasting their time, nor look for revenge. So then we have Guy and Ortega heading out. And that Nerdpoil, that is one thing that part of the reason why I wanted to go with the animated series, because the anime series over the movies, is because it is a longer show, and you can kind of really stop the smell the weeds, stop the smell of the roses at times.
And I get that. I just say is just you can enjoy the TV series. It's just in later renditions in later succeeding series and movies, you're going to see elements from the movies instead. For example, there's a famous line of Char's mobile suit unknowingly attacking Sayla, and she's not in the core fighter, she's not in the G fighter, she's in the core booster.
So to try and get back to this, I mean, thank you for helping to kind of keep that together. So while they were out, getting back to the white base, they finally get they finally get a message from General Revel about what would be their orders during Operation Odessa. Which here we see that yes, Frau Bo is in fact handling the comms. She's now doing the job of Uhura.
Who?
From Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
So they then, Amuro and Sayla, meanwhile, while they were out on display or out on patrol, happened to come across. Yes, I said Uhura. They finally take note. They take notice of a small Federation propeller plane while out on patrol, and decide to go and follow it to go and to go check it out, rather than returning back to base for the sake of the orders. Which here we see we get a pretty good shot of the cockpit.
Yeah, with framed by the 2 cannon barrels.
Yeah, it is a big old warhorse of a ship. Amuro, let's see. So yeah, this was a they happened to have caught sight of a Federation ship that was leaving Zeon territory, and this is not a warship.
Yeah, it is a spy plane, and it's a patrol plane for the Federation, conspicuously leaving a Zeon Dob Day land battleship.
And yeah, it's like, well, clearly this is something that's just getting to just leave enemy territory from like an enemy headquarters. There's clearly something going on here. We need to investigate this. Which heads straight back for the Federation's mobile command center, the Big Tray. You know, everyone's favorite ship, right, Chris?
Yes, it is well, I mean, it's not the only Big Tray. It's just one of many. The Big Tray is a class. It's not a name. But yes.
Memes, did you get the beard back? No, if not, don't worry. It'll grow on you.
Or you could do what Ironcaster did and have his back hair implanted.
Pushing this. Fenrir, how do you like the spy thing that's been going on for the last couple of episodes? I mean, you see that the Federation has some spies, and you see that there's been some spying that has been going both ways.
A spy and a traitor.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I didn't see the big reveal of this part where it was found out was actually the general's too on it. I mean, it was pretty interesting to see where it went. I wonder if we're ever going to meet the Federation's version. The Federation has spies in the Zeon, right?
Well,
oh yeah, that's how they found out about the Black Tri-Stars.
We're going to meet some of those.
I don't believe we ever actually do see any Federation spies within Zeon.
Huh, what a missed opportunity. They could have done one episode of rescuing one of those guys or something.
So they finally go. Amuro and Sayla go and finally land aboard the Big Tray to go and try to bring this up with the higher command about a spy being in their midst.
The commanding officer of the Big Tray,
right? To which, of course, they landing aboard landing aboard the military command, what is effectively a military command center, it actually meets them with some armed resistance. Thank you, IRC Life. Happy Thanksgiving back to you.
It's coming up. 2 more days.
I went to work yesterday and they handed me a turkey.
Yes, you showed it off to Jason and I last night.
Yep. Well, I was like trying to grab something else.
Yes, a wonderful tumbler for 540 Studios.
Oh, I don't know what could it be? Oh. I'm sure you could probably link that in the description for yourself.
I'm pretty sure I can do
Wow.
that.
Oh, it's so refreshing, and it keeps my drink nice and cold. Oh,
Okay,
throat is so
good
parched.
man. You can stop doing that.
All right!
All right, so to get back to it, let me scroll down real quick. Amuro was, of course, brought by guards down to meet with General Elran, with who he he has his nice escort to confront them. And wanting to try to help and deal with this privately, much like a adult would, Amuro requests to relay his information to the commander in private. Which, I mean, I think Amuro's doing a good job here.
Yeah,
military-wise, he is
acting. I mean, he is acting coy, and
God, I forgot how derpy his face was.
But Amuro is definitely keeping his cool because he knows that there's something suspicious going on the ship, and so going to meet General Elron to discuss it and find out, hey, something's not going right here.
So, surprise, Amuro presents a photo, which shows proof of what he's saying. To which our good general here, of course, makes the natural decision to go and draw a gun on him. Surprise, surprise! The general himself is the spy.
Well,
Yeah.
he's the traitor. It's the other guy who's the spy.
well, technically the same thing.
Yeah, well, they both deserve the similar sort of treatment. Hung by the neck until dead, etc.
Or firing squad. But I mean, it's different because Elrod, he is a Federation officer who is betraying the Federation. Judok, Judok is a Xeon spy who's infiltrated the Federation. So I mean, they are two different classifications, but tomato.
Yeah, and of course, our good information officer, Chris, would know all about spies, wouldn't you?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course.
Uh-huh. So what do you think should be the way we handle spies, Chris?
Shoot him in the arm.
Just the arm?
The arm? Just the arm, dude? I was thinking maybe between the eyes, the legs, or just castration. The old Greek method.
Or, you just show off how bad of a shot you are.
Well, I mean,
I think that was more of a warning.
He was shot at the same time.
This is true. So, I mean, fortunately, he's not able to threaten Amuro too much. After he's like busy saying, oh, we're at war and casualties do happen, and then he himself gets.
He shot him at his office. It wouldn't actually be a casualty; it was a murder.
You're right.
I think he was originally going to label Amuro as the spy, if I remember correctly.
Maybe. Hang on 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. Anyway, so the guards outside were just happened to have been listening in and are able to prevent General Elrond, from going and eliminating Amuro. Which, much to his credit, Amuro caught a spy.
And a traitor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 birds, 1 stone. A picture of a dragonfly. That's the name of the plane, by the way, for those of you who are curious.
No, thank you. And I mean, part of the plan, furthermore, had what didn't Makuve's plan involve having Elrond delay their troops?
Yes, he was to delay his movement of troops so that Xeon forces could redeploy and outmaneuver General Revel's forces.
Well, I mean, as we soon see, that doesn't quite happen.
No. The conspiracy has been uncovered.
Errors in knee is what should happen. Unless you're Chuck Norris. They just kill 2 stones with 1 bird.
Well, I mean, there are 2 people who are better than Chuck Norris. And that would be...
Chuck and Norris.
No, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
Oh, this is true. I would say I would be willing to say those are better. So, with our traitor now caught, Amuro and Sayla are quick to go return to the White Base to go reconvene with the White Base and deploy for the battle. To which we see that their tank forces are actually, they have quite the force heading out.
So that little maneuver that was supposed to save the Makuve's forces isn't going to happen.
And so with that,
and there's a nice
Operation Odessa finally begins.
There's a nice picture of the Dobde, the Xeon's land battleship.
Yep, which is this ridiculous tank with turret guns everywhere.
If you think that's ridiculous, you should see that manga that I keep on referencing how they depict him.
And the Xeon forces are getting messed up left and right.
Yep. Because they're outmaneuvered. They are outmaneuvered. They can't properly sustain themselves. Like I said, this is the battle that completely ends the 9-10 month stalemate that it's been going on since the 1-year war started.
Of course, the Doms are the remaining Black Tri-Stars are still in the field, and are proving to be a one hard target to hit, where Kai in the gun cannon just cannot hit them to save his life.
Yep, so as we have this nice little picture of a surprised Dom quickly moving out of the way of the gun cannon's attack.
Where as good as these two suits are, they just aren't the Gundam.
No. That's why that's why the Gundam is better, because it's 3 experimental mobile suits for serving for different varieties of uses. These DOMs can easily outmaneuver the gun cannon and gun tank, which are created for long range to mid range combat, whereas the Gundam is designed for close range combat.
And I mean, they all serve their purposes. I mean, honestly, I've always thought I think there is a kind of a good appeal in the gun cannon, because it acts as that sort of medium range that I feel like should have probably had more. We probably should have seen more time in use.
Well, I mean, in later editions, there is the mass-produced gun cannon, which we actually see in 0080 War in the Pocket. Sadly, we didn't get to see a good rendition of them because they're destroyed quickly.
And speaking of destroyed, one of the DOMs is able to get a shot off on the gun tank as it's being called in to swap out with the Gundam with the G armor, and outright destroys the caterpillar treads of it, showing that, hey, these things, they all have their weaknesses.
Yeah,
they do.
I think the reason why the gun tank was retreating was because it was coming back to the white base to help with the defense against the DOPS that were flying around it.
You might be right.
I don't think they got around to planning on swapping things around until the gun tank was decommissioned, or not decommissioned, but did not become a resource.
And one of the other things that you see a bit of is the crackling static of communications, because with all the battle going on, we have Minovsky particles, which mean that radio waves just don't work
as well. And what was that? What are they called again?
I said Minovsky. I know what I said. The Minerva particles.
But I mean, yes. I mean, that's what it's another sign as to why Minovsky particles have completely changed the face of warfare in Gundam. A nice good kick to the face.
Yep. Of course, it isn't. It in turn is met with getting that foot cut off.
God, that was a pain in the butt to try and get that shot last night.
Oh God, yeah. There's one especially. He's like, has the silly little eye going back and forth. Then Gaia sticks his head up. Hey, that new super weapon. Yeah, I'm a Texan.
Oh yeah, one of them had this crazy Texan accent. It was really hilarious.
Oh, I love it. It's why I love the anime dub so much.
Yeah, it definitely sticks in there.
Of course, the G armor got shot and is coming in to try to get any fires put out. So they launch the Gundam. And while all this is going on, and the forces are starting to push up, which, wow, that was actually a really good time to have that here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gundam is deployed, and it starts wrecking house. And the Federation forces are pushing in. They are getting closer and closer. They are starting to push up, and they are closing in on onto the.
If you want to go back one quick shot, real quick, if you notice, not only are they pushing, but I mean, if you notice some of the deployment spots, if you move on to the next spot, you can see that they're kind of like the next slot. You can see that they're kind of broken up, showing that how the Federation forces are breaking through the defense lines and heading towards the main Odessa mining base.
Do those two guys on the ship on the bridge that are seated back to back have names? Yeah. The guys in the back. They've had names brought up before.
Yeah,
it's just they don't get mentioned a lot.
Their names are. Hold on a second, because actually I have a means of looking it up here. Hopefully it's in here. Mark Barker Clan and Oscar Dublin. So,
thank you. Let's see. Did I have a? Yeah, they're right there. These two. Yeah, they're just kind of around, and I think their names only get mentioned like once or twice in the series. So, as they're slowly pushing up, and Makuve is obviously realizing that he's about to get his teeth kicked in. Yep. Thank you, Chris. Makuve decides to play the ultimate card to cheat and violate the Antarctic Treaty that has defined what is and is not allowed in warfare here.
Since the start of the war.
Which is he calls General Revel and threatens to use nuclear weapons.
Send out a broadcast across all channels saying, "You better stop, or else."
Yeah, or else I'm gonna poop in the punch bowl. I'm Makuve, and I would totally poop in the punch bowl.
I was thinking about saying spike the punch bowl, but okay.
No. Makuve looks like he would poop in the punch bowl just to make people leave his party.
Put some hot sauce in this punch bowl.
You guys are just God damn.
Well, it's not the same sort of jokes we were making all the time. In fact, he looks less disturbed, less creepy here, I'd say.
Yes, I agree.
Though he does still have that sickly appearance to him.
Mm-hmm. Of course, General Revel, upon hearing the threats, is said to have said nothing at all, but simply made a gesture. We proceed anyway.
Call the bluff.
Yep. So, with that in mind, Amuro is tasked now with missile. Well, actually, kind of catching up here, getting into it a little bit.
He's still fighting the remaining black tri-stars. They swap out the front of the G fighter for one of the core fighters, which changes
from
this
the gun
model.
tank?
Yes, from the gun tank. So now it's no longer the G fighter. It's now called the G Sky Easy. The G Sky Easy.
Oh, it was the Sky Easy.
Yes. And so now Amuro is tasked with taking care of the missile and at the same time taking care of the black tri-stars.
Oh, right across the belly.
Right into the cockpit.
Mm-hmm. And then there was one. So, as we said, Amuro's tasked with eliminating the last of the nuclear missiles. And he's told, as I kind of go over here, he just has to slice just below just above the nose of it. So if he can eliminate the detonator and cut across that, he can take it out. Oh, I didn't get rid of that. To which Makuve is shocked. What? You mean me spiking my own punch bowl didn't get them to leave the party? Or no, the threat of it didn't. I have to actually do it now. Get the X-Lax. And he proverbially drops his trousers and drops the log. This, I feel like this has gone on too far. This pooping in the punch bowl joke of mine.
Maybe just a little.
But it's like, I can't think of any other good comparison. So,
well, I mean, looks like MASH is having a bad day.
Yeah, MASH. We lost him. We lost the best accent in Gundam.
Yeah, we did. How will we ever survive?
By going back and watching from the very beginning again.
Hey,
Yeah, I guess that could work.
All rise for the national anthem of Gundam.
Oh, you know what you missed?
No.
You know what you missed, Ironcaster?
What's up?
You missed the halfway mark.
I did? Oh, no. And here, let me make up for it, too.
That's a good one.
I think it's my new favorite slap. I mean, aside from calling Amuro a selfish brat.
But I mean, there's just something about Cassilia just sighing in exasperation and annoyance and just walking up to someone and teaching them a lesson.
I think a lot of men have been through that part.
I mean, Amuro, you think about the position Amuro's in there. He's got to also simultaneously get rid of the last of the black Tri-Stars that's in his way, that's preventing him from eliminating the nuclear warhead. And he's got to try to, get it before he can fly too far.
So
it's one of those things we've kind of talked about a lot on here, is that idea of the raising the stakes. And this is certainly some big stakes that have been placed and set. It's like, how can you top stopping a nuke?
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, but which is why I think it is intense, and it is maybe not the best of pacing, because we've had night raids, we've had you having to fight while dropping through the atmosphere, while working like with a mech that's half destroyed. But fortunately for us, the Gundam saves the day. And with that, the Zeon forces finally withdraw. Mukuve losing the mines, although he still nonetheless is able to relish in the fact that, as he says, with the resources that he managed to collect, Zeon could fight for another 10 years if need be.
Yeah.
And so the episode ends with General Revel finally meeting with the crew of the White Base as they are at rest. This particular battle operation has ended, and they've won. They saved the day.
This is the beginning of the Federation pushing back against the Zeons and reclaiming Earth and eventually reclaiming space. Spoiler alert. An interesting thing that in the manga that I read like 10 years ago or so, as I explained before, the G fighter is different in the manga, but also how they destroy the nuclear missile is also different too. Instead of Amuro cutting it, the Gundam is reattached to the G fighter, and they basically fly off and chase the rocket. And because the G fighter was damaged in a previous battle, the Federation a Federation warship that they had to take a quick pit stop on attached rocket engines to the G fighter, making it able to travel faster and farther. And they chased the rocket, the nuclear rocket, all the way into upper orbit. And I shared a picture from the scene where Amuro was able to shoot the missile instead of just cutting it. Shot it, and it basically exploded in the upper atmosphere.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean,
I send a picture into the Discord, by the way.
All right. I did want to ask Fenrir. Oh yeah. So, I mean, Fenrir, you didn't get to talk too much here. Now, I kind of want to rectify that for you.
I was pretty much watching the two of you burn it down, but yeah, this episode it felt simple to me. Yes, it got us the answers for some things, but it felt kind of simple. I give it at least a 7.5 out of 10 or 7. It just felt simple for me.
Would you say it's a little disappointing for all the hang on?
Well, whoops. I mean, how more complicated can you get with this one episode? I mean, what they could have done is they could have stretched this episode out to be an episode, another 2 or 3 episodes, having it into like a part 1, part 2, part 3 kind of thing, and show how big this battle is. It would have been a little more interesting. More interesting. Show more about how big this battle was and how pivotal it was to the Federation war effort against the Zeons.
Yeah. Just didn't hit the same way. Sorry, guys. Just didn't feel it tonight.
Yeah, it always seems like it's kind of
rushed.
Yeah,
very
rushed. You wish you got to see a bit more in the way of like. I'd still love to see some more mobile suits in this. I mean, that's still to come, but I mean, that's kind of one of the things that'll change after this episode is we'll start to see more mobile suits get deployed, especially with the likes of the Federation getting the GM and yes, Shars and indeed a Chad.
In fact, actually, in some canon material, this battle is the first battle that we see the use of the Gym ground type mobile suit. So nice little. So this is what I'm assuming is supposed to be a depiction of the Battle of Odessa. So you have these models of mobile suits were based off of the Gundam ground type mobile suit that were produced right before the show, basically right before the events of the show.
Which also kind of comes in part thanks to all of that research from the Gundam, from the black box of those.
Yes.
So it's like really a lot of this is thanks primarily, to Amuro fighting as he was and all the effort he put into trying to improve on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we will be seeing more of the ground Gundams in the 8th MS team. So the 8th MS team is a OVA that takes place during the events of the show later on, right after the death of Garma. And so we find out that the Gundam on the White Base isn't the only Gundam that the Federation has. It's just the newer prototype, the newest prototype.
At the same time, though, that's getting a little ahead of getting into the weeds outside of this show. And I just kind of want
the lore.
I know you do. It's a lot of fun to get to, but we need to get there first.
That's taking too long.
Look, you're gonna get your dessert when we finish the meal. For now, you're stuck on this first course.
But there's like 52 other courses.
Yes, and you'll get it when I say you're getting it.
Asshole.
All right, well, we'll talk about this later. But in the meantime, you need to tell me what you rate this episode.
I'll give it a 7.5, maybe 7.5.
Yeah, I'm probably about the same. It is a 7.
Yeah,
it's
it
kind
just felt meh.
and it's such a shame because this is supposed to be one of those big things that they've been teasing for like a quarter
A
of the
long
show's
time.
runtime.
Yeah.
Is that? Which is unfortunate, especially unfortunate considering, like you were saying, Chris, this is such a big turning point, but it's a letdown.
Yeah. Sadly. But I mean, I understand that with the constraints that this show has, given that it's the late 1970s, animation is restricted. So I mean, there's limitations.
Also, I mean, one of the things aside that I think is kind of interesting to bring up is probably around this time in the show, one of the original ideas and intents. So Fenrir, and for the audience, was that about halfway through the show, which might have been about this time, the intent was that the entire white base crew were all going to be killed off.
Which luckily that never
Well, they
happened.
pretty much killed most of the ones that matter. Really
But I
mattered
mean, like,
to me.
Amuro would have died. Amuro was going to get killed off at like about this point.
How? Then who would drive the Gundam?
And then the intent was that they were going to just introduce a whole new crew, because part of the idea is that this is war. No one is safe in war.
Yeah,
and if
I remember hearing about that.
You stick to your guns on that, and you kill off.
And
this
they could have
crew you've
killed
been
the
following
kids or Frau or something.
Jeez.
Oh no, they would have. If chances are they probably would have just shifted over to a different ship.
Probably.
I mean, we'll see more about Char and defecting, and when we get to Zeta, if we get to Zeta, because we're still in Gundam.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember reading something along the lines that in the novelization of the series, Amuro does die near the end, and Char takes over. Sorry, I thought you knew.
Don't worry. You're not going to spoil the like 35-40-year-old novel at this point.
But I mean, Char takes over the Gundam Unit 3.
Wow.
So, all right. So I guess we'll wrap up. We'll start wrapping up here a bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, Subhuman, you are in for quite a ride with Zeta.
Yes, it is fun.
Oh, you're making me jealous, Nerdporial.
I do believe someone else mentioned that they got to meet Tomino in Chicago as well. Who was that? I can't remember now.
Whoever was, but did they survive? It's Tomino.
God, now I can't remember. I can't remember who it was, and that's gonna bug me.
So, I mean, all right. So, Fenrir, what do you think at this point? I mean, we've had, yes, it was a bit of a disappointing battle at this point.
Not really disappointing, but lackluster, I would say.
Okay, that's probably the better word for it. What do you think of the show overall, Fenrir, at this point?
It's a pretty good show. It has its down moments, yes, but it has a lot more upper moments. The writing is good. The characters are good. It's good. Seriously, better than anything we're getting today.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't take much effort these days.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it does
it's
not.
not like there's exactly a bar set by modern entertainment, and there's a reason why this is such a.
Their bar is you just have to have two characters of the same gender making out, and you're good.
But
that is literally their bar.
At the same time though, we are in a way blessed because we're going back to all these classic shows. And
sometimes
not only that, we're able to now introduce these shows to new audiences. Fender, you're now watching this for the first time.
Yes, I am.
I'm going through the Japanese Transformers Headmasters. They blew up Mars.
Japanese version.
Yeah, Mars got blown up. Cybertron got blown up.
Jesus, could the Autobots not be in one place without destroying it?
Yeah, that was Scorponok doing all that.
Still, sometimes it's hard to defend that Autobot lives matter because they just ruin everything in the universe, everywhere they go.
Well, we'll have to go and explore that a bit at one day down the line, but that's for another show. That's for probably another year. And for now, we're in Gundam. We're watching pilots and big mechs committing horrific war crimes and are developing PTSD. So yeah, I think that was probably good for the covering the episode today.
Let's close it here.
Yeah. All right. So we'll let you go ahead and start us, Fenrir. You want to tell us a little about yourself? Anything you have coming out?
Yeah, you guys already know me. You know where to find me. I'm trying to hit 200 subs without doing anything. Don't blame me. I'm a lazy bastard. So if you like what I do here, go give me a sub. Make me get 200. Come on, people. Do some work.
Do some work so you can do some work.
Well, I'm not making any promises here. In what part do I have to do the damn work? It's something.
Uh-huh. What about you, Chris?
Okay.
And your fancy Gundam picture?
Hey, don't be jealous.
I said it's fancy.
You'll find me either here hanging out with Ironcaster whenever he permits it, or you'll find me over at 540 Studios where I host with Jace on the Beyond show, as well as planning other shows that we hope to have coming up here soon. On the Beyond show is on Thursdays. We sometimes will have a show on Sunday on some occasion. We're hopefully going to get our Star Wars EU show back up and running, where we're basically just going over material from the original Star Wars EU, the actual expanded universe. And from there, I'm here, there, and everywhere. We're always watching.
Thank you. So, guys, you know me. I'm Ironcaster. I'll sometimes talk about some big robots. Of course, you already know where to find me, right here on this channel. For anyone who's not subscribed, I would sure love to have that subscription. I'm at 238 subscribers, and I'd love to hit 250. You can find me on Thursdays normally over on Clobber and Times for the Global Geek Gang. On Friday nights with Nick Weiser, where we're doing some comic talk. Saturdays over on T-Shirt Historians for The Week in Geek. And of course, here on Tuesdays, you can find us talking about some big robots. Come on,
I got to say one thing to this public.
What's up?
To all the men in the audience, I want you to remember one specific thing: that always and forever, chicks will dig giant robots.
Of course,
remember that.
The links to these channels, both these guys' channels, are down below in the description, and of course, links to other fine, excellent channels who I can highly recommend. So, with those final thoughts, I want to say thank you. Hang on, I'm going to kick you guys out as I end this show. Be gone. In closing the show, I want to stop and say thank you for coming by and taking the time to sit here and chat with us, listen to us talk about some big robots, and contribute in the chat. You know, if it wasn't for you guys, we'd probably still be sitting here, but come on, you make it more, we all make it more fun, and we're here for each other, which is why I want, if you ever want to reach out to me, my DMs are open. You can find me on Twitter at IroncasterH. So until next time, guys, I'm Ironcaster. Go enjoy some big robots. Go make your Monday's mecha. Big robots. For all the big bots, minicons, and everything in between. Cybernetics, armors. Have fun.